Hey guys, welcome to Clockwork, Noodles for another breakdown of Solo Leveling episode number 5. Hope you guys are looking after yourselves and I'm very excited to break this one down. I noticed some really clever things going on with the music this week, so I'm going to make sure I take a little stop and talk about the music as well as what's going on the screen. This is a really cool episode because initially I thought, okay, I know how this is going to play out, I know what's going to happen, but then when we got the slight hints that something was going awry and I kind of cottoned on what was happening, I was like, okay, I'm very excited to see if next week we can actually bring some criminals to justice. That would be fun. Before we get going, make sure you guys are subscribed. We now have one more week before I have to get my butt in gear and give you guys the midway review where I'm going into my top 3 OPs, EDs, current standing of anime. Really can't wait, but it also means I've actually got to put my pen to the paper and actually put them in order. There's a lot of really good stuff going on. I say there's actually 2 OPs that are clashing right now for that first spot. Don't know how I'm going to call it because one's an earworm and the other one is just technically great. Have to think about what order I'm going to do them in. Can't wait to explain all of my choices with you guys. Let's just jump straight to it because there's so much going on. I did think it was a different person completely. When we first saw him and he's just there with the haircut really threw me. I was really confused because initially I've seen obviously promo material for Solo Leveling and there's obviously the short hair guy and I'm like, I mean, he looks like Jin, but is it Jin? And I'm like, okay, no, it is him. He's just had a haircut and it really suits him. And he's really obviously following the One Punch diet, looking amazing. His body's in shape. Dude's literally ripped and getting all of the nurses' attention. And because he's so naive as well, I'm going to give you my number because it must be for results, even though that's not how doctors and nurses technically work. Pretty sure hospitals have to send you that kind of stuff in letter form. I do wonder what's going to happen if there's going to be a romance in this. I don't really see it being an anime for romance. I'm not here for the romance. I'm here for a twisty plot. I want to see what's going to happen. I want to see if our boy can become an S rank because we've met a cool character this week, Beck. He reminds me a bit of Endeavor from My Hero Academia, and he said he had a fire force kind of link, so he's been a firefighter, obviously Endeavor being a fireman as well. It's really, really cool to see the differences with these S rankers, and they are pretty much celebrities in their own right. But we are told there's only 7 of them, so only 7 people in the world have made that grade. Makes me wonder if the dude's got his own guild, because I think they said the guild master is practicing a bit later on in My Hero Academia. Even in that one, they have different kind of agencies, and even top heroes will run their own agencies. So I did find this week absolutely fascinating, really enjoyed it. Don't quite know if working out actually makes you taller, because if it does, I might start hitting the gym. I feel short. I am pretty short. I'm one of those people who go into a store and if I want something on the back shelf, I might have to stand on the bottom shelf just to try getting what I want. I'm that kind of person who just climbs all over things. I am not tall enough for the world that we're living in nowadays. There's a lot of people who I consider a lot taller than myself. Mission itself was really pretty cool. I like as well that you can hunt different things to do. It feels like a bit of a game lobby. A lot of this is now starting to feel like the game world. Even things like terminology, down to taunts, down to healers, down to cooldown effects and stuff. I also like the fact that it's running off a game basis. My brain understands. I know this. This is all words I've heard before. I can physically understand what's going on in the screen when you've got the guy doing a taunt when all the bugs go to him as opposed to anybody else, which I think is really cool. And even the terminology that they're all tanks, so you know that they're all doing damage, but there's no healing. So we're back to working in a group, it would seem, but I do think after this experience, Jin may not want to go back into groups for a while. It makes sense that a load of people would be organising groups to get together, go do some lower dungeons, and bad stuff is going to happen because nobody's regulating this kind of thing. There's no way of putting cameras up in dungeons because the point is you're going into a dungeon that nobody knows anything about and you're the ones clearing it out and getting rid of it. So it makes sense that bad people are doing bad things, which makes me really hope that at the end, because I think they said that beating the boss basically closes the dungeon. So I really hope Jinru is able to just smack the living crap out of that spider. I hate spiders, by the way. Really hope he can smack the living crap out of that thing. And he just closes the dungeon. He's like, yeah, you wanted these crystals? It's not happening. And I really hope he's able to do something. But he doesn't have any evidence. So I don't know how that's going to work. He can't really bring them to criminal justice because he has no evidence that they're running a murder cycling ring where anybody who doesn't fit into the 6 basically gets murdered. The way that he was like, oh, this is really too good to be true. And I was like, okay, I'm picking up on a load of low-key vibes of this guy's too happy, or this guy's just like, oh, we just want people to carry our stuff. Jinwoo says that if you've been doing it for a long time, you would have people that you just naturally call on. So I really liked the setup, because initially I thought, I know where this is going. It's going to be a dungeon. It's just going to be leveling up, going in. There might be some really cool bosses inside, and that's it. But it was fascinating when they added in the twist. I was like, okay, now it's interesting. Because if it's just we're going to go through dungeons one by one and we're going to wipe them out, that kind of gets boring. But when you add in the aspect that people are a bit crooked, that makes things a bit more interesting. And I love the fact that Jinwoo's just kind of sat there, and the guy's like, oh, look at me, I'm going to protect you. And you can see on his face, he's like, oh, dude, spare me. And I think the character of Jinwoo is really starting to catch me a bit. And he's also got my back. I actually started to ask myself many questions, going, I really wish I had some more lore. And Jin comes in with a load of lore, which I am fascinated by. So thank you for giving me the lore on that one. But I am going to be really sad if our boy doesn't get reevaluated. I know he doesn't want to, because he thinks it's going to be suspicious and everything. But it will be sad, because if he doesn't get evaluated, is he really going to be crossing paths with the S rankers? Because nobody's going to be able to vouch that he's really strong. And maybe the guy with him at the moment might be able to, but no one's going to listen to one person. I really hope that he's able to at least start intermingling with the higher rank dungeons. But as an E ranker right now, he's not going to be doing any of that. I want to know what's behind these dungeons. There's got to be something. There's got to be a reason why these things are appearing. And I am just fascinated. Now, the bit that I thought was super, super clever was when the guys are going down the hallways, and obviously it feels never ending. Just dead bugs, which are probably from before, where the guys are probably hyping up, going, oh, we know what's going to happen. So whether they're using this one over and over again, maybe they knew about the crystals as well, perhaps. Because I was initially thinking that they were just going to murder them in the dungeon and be like, oh, this dungeon was clearly too big and we don't have a healer, so not their ranks. I did think initially they were just getting rid of people by killing them off. That was my initial thoughts, but now I'm starting to think that it might just be an operation to try getting these mana crystals out, but maybe he didn't know the mana crystals were there. It does seem like they're weirdly prepared, because they brought mining equipment with them. Whether or not mining plays a big role in these dungeons, I'm not sure, but it felt a little bit sus that he kind of knew what to do. And when he says seal off the chamber, but to what effect? I mean, you initially are going to have these guys killed off, but then are you going to re-dig back in? Because that's a lot of effort for you guys to do. I've got a lot of questions. I really can't wait to see how this goes, but let's talk about the music during the tunnel sequence, which go on and on. The music itself does something very, very clever, and of course it's a Sawano, so he knows what he's doing. The beat just starts to repeat. You get the same kind of bars going over and over, because the tunnels start to just repeat on themselves. It's more dead bugs, and the beat starts to repeat because it's repetitive. The fantastic thing about this after that is it starts to build very, very slowly as we start to get towards the chamber itself, and then the beat really picks up, and we had the fantastic sequence of course, the guys getting duped out of the crystals, and then the music kind of ends. And I really can't wait to see what goes on next week. I was pleasantly surprised by the twist, let's just say that, because initially I was like, okay, cool, it's another standard episode, but right at the end when the shady guy is being all shady, not surprised, and I really can't wait to see what happens. The look at the end, let's talk about the final sequence when Jin just goes, you know what, I've got this. Dude, stand back, watch me. The look on his face reminded me of that certain Jujutsu Kaisen meme going around. I'm not going to say what it is, because if you know, you know. If you don't know, I'm not spoiling anything. But there's a meme going around of a certain person, and it's just that smug look where he's like, it's fine, I've got this, I'm going to beat the boss. It reminded me of that same energy, so very excited to see what's going to happen. Hopefully he just smacks it in one and the whole thing closes, but I don't know how he's going to bring the guys to justice. They might at least look at them and be like, wait, you didn't just beat that, so maybe they'll take him a bit more seriously. Not sure. Another fantastic episode, lots of really cool things going on. I still love the fact that the colour palette is based around blue, because these things are just so mysterious, so you don't really know what to expect, and they're pretty much going in cold every time, so the blue really works. Can't wait to see you guys again soon. Make sure you're looking after yourselves. Let me know down below what you think of the music in the anime, because I think the music in the anime is just mwah, chef's kiss. See you guys again soon. Bye guys.